What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it is time to give you my way too early 2024 Big Ten football power rankings, as we are still looking way ahead to the 2024 college football season. Like I said, it's way too early to be doing these types of videos, but we're going to be doing them anyway just for the, because we're doing it for fun and everything. Earlier today, I gave you my SEC football power rankings. If you had not seen that video, be sure to go back and check it out. Now we're doing the Big Ten Conference. Of course, there's going to be 18 teams total here in the Big Ten next season, so this is going to be a stacked conference with really multiple teams in the Big Ten here. And then obviously these power rankings, like I said, it's way too early to be doing these power rankings for all the conferences and everything, but we're going to do them anyway. And like I said, how these power rankings work, this is pretty much based off of where the teams were from last season, so that's how we're going to be ranking these teams, based off of where they were from last season, and also what we could kind of expect in 2024 for the Big Ten as well. So let's get right into this list. We'll start with the bottom and work our way to the top. We'll start here with number 18, of course, and number 18 for me is Indiana. I don't really know what to expect from this team. I mean, obviously it's kind of like a new rebuild for this Indiana football program. They're going to have a new head coach this year, and the roster is just not there for them. The talent is not there either. They've had a couple of guys already transfer away from the program. Probably one of their top playmakers as well transferred out. So Indiana's going to have a long way to go. This is kind of like a complete rebuild for Indiana. Like I said, I don't really see this team being all that good next season, and obviously they were the worst team in the Big Ten last season as well. I don't think I predicted this team to be the worst team last year. I couldn't really remember my last year projections and everything, but Indiana, of course, here at number 18 here on this Big Ten power ranking. Let's go to number 17 now. Number 17 for me is Michigan State. Michigan State has had a rough couple years now. They've had rough seasons in the last 2 years, I should say. Mel Tucker, of course, was fired last year. He lost a couple of playmakers in the transfer portal last year. So this was a very young Michigan State team last season. I still don't really see them being a lot better kind of compared to last year and the year before. Michigan State, this program, had an 11-win season in 2021, and this Michigan State team has just now fallen way out of the Big Ten, kind of like one of those contenders and everything, out of the Big Ten and everything. This used to be a really good program, but now it seems like the last 2 years just have not gone any way for them. So I don't really know what the roster is going to look like for Michigan State, and they're kind of similar to Indiana. Just don't know what to really expect from Michigan State this season. So they're number 17 here on these power rankings. Number 16 is Purdue, another team that's coming off a tough season last year. Of course, they had a first-year head coach and everything. Purdue, of course, won the Big Ten West a couple years ago. This was kind of a step-back year for them last season. Maybe they could be better, a lot better in 2024, but as of right now, I don't really see Purdue getting up there either. I don't know what the roster is going to look like for this team either. I just don't know what to expect for Purdue. I don't think the talent is there for them anymore like they were, like back then when Jeff Brom was still the head coach and everything. So Purdue here, not much to talk about them, kind of compared to Michigan State and Indiana. So Purdue here at number 16. Number 15 is Nebraska. I kind of expect improvement from Nebraska in 2024. Second-year head coach Matt Rule, obviously. First year was 5-7. And again, Nebraska, they lost all those close games once again. They really are the team that just loses a lot of games that are really close. Whether it's 3 points or maybe more than that. Nebraska is a very competitive team, but they just can't seem to win games. It seems like they always find a way to lose these close games. And with that being said, Nebraska, second year going into Matt Rule's second season, maybe they can finally turn things around and get to a bowl game. But like I said, based off of where they were last year, I have to put them here almost at the bottom of the Big Ten, but they're here at number 15. It's not like they're going to be really bad this year, and like I said, it's way too early to be doing these types of videos. Like I said, I don't know what the teams look like just yet, so Nebraska here at number 15. Number 14 is Illinois, coming off a pretty disappointing year last year. They went 5-7. I kind of expect some improvement with Illinois this season in 2024. I don't know what the roster looks like just yet. I don't know who their top playmaker is for this Illinois Illinois team, but Illinois is a team that's kind of similar to Nebraska. They were both pretty even teams last season, but Illinois' season just didn't go the way it was really planned for last year as well. Illinois, like I said, they still have a long way to go before they can really actually compete with the top teams in the Big Ten, but Illinois here at number 14 in my power rankings. Number 13 is Minnesota, so Minnesota surprised me a lot last year. They went 5-7, but they still made it to a bowl game just because I think they didn't have enough teams to go to a bowl game, to be honest. But, throughout the years, Minnesota's always had a pretty decent season, like a .500, kind of winning record, to be honest. But Minnesota wasn't like that last year. The offense was not really good. The defense was pretty dominant, but the offense was just not really good. I think the offense was a little bit young last year, so maybe they can finally have a better offense in 2024. I do kind of expect Minnesota to be better, but as of right now, based off of where they were last year, they're here at number 13 here in these power rankings. Moving on to number 12, Rutgers. Rutgers coming off of one of really the biggest surprise, seasons last year. I don't think they were the most surprised team in the Big Ten, but they were really close to that. Rutgers, like I said, coming off a really good season. This is a team that I predicted to go 4-8 last year. And I also, I think, predicted this team to be the worst team in the Big Ten last season as well. But this team and this program looks like it's heading in the right direction. The Big Ten is obviously going to be a very tough conference this year. We'll see if they are able to compete with some of the top teams in the Big Ten this year. They were very competitive against Ohio State last year. They were even competitive in the first quarter against Michigan. I know it's just a quarter and all, but Rutgers looked really good last season. This team looks like it's heading in the right direction, or I should say this program is looking like it's heading in the right direction as well. So watch out for the Rutgers in 2024. Again, coming off a really good season last year in 2023. Number 11 is Wisconsin. Wisconsin coming off, first-year head coach Luke Fickell, 7-6 last year. A lot of people thought Wisconsin was going to be better than that 7-6 record, but like I said, I wasn't really high on Wisconsin last year just because of a first-year head coach, and I think it's obviously going to take some time for Luke Fickell to get this Wisconsin team back to where it needs to be. Second year, though, Luke Fickell should have some talent on both sides of the football, especially for Wisconsin here, both sides of the football. They should be a really talented team. They were right there with LSU, in that bowl game, just like, this past, 2 weeks ago and everything. So we'll see if Wisconsin can have a really good season. It probably turns into a 10-win season for them. But like I said, based off of where they were last year, as of right now, they're here at number 11 in these way too early power rankings. Moving on to number 10, we got USC, a newcomer in the Big Ten, obviously, this year, coming off a really brutal season last year, only winning 8 games last season. It may not seem like really good, but it's still a decent kind of season for USC last year. But the biggest struggle for this team last year was definitely the defensive side of the football. Caleb Williams obviously going to be gone here for USC, but they do got a backup quarterback that really actually played pretty well against Louisville in the Holiday Bowls, so the future is looking pretty bright at quarterback for USC. But again, one thing that concerns me about USC is definitely the defense. If they can get some defense, on that defensive side of the football, they do got some talent on that defense, but the defense in the first 2 years under Lincoln Riley has been a big struggle. I feel like USC's defense was a lot worse kind of compared to 2022, so let's see if USC can improve on that defensive side of the football. And again, I'm not really too concerned about the offense for them. Maybe they can really score a lot of points once again. Like I said, I think the future is looking pretty bright at quarterback for this team. The backup quarterback, like I said, played pretty well against Louisville. So USC here at number 10, heading into their first year in the Big Ten, of course, in 2024. Number 9, we stay with the newcomers here, and that's UCLA. UCLA was a pretty decent team last year. They were not the most, best team in the Pac-12 last season, but UCLA also heading into their first year in the Big Ten. I don't really expect them to be competitive against the top teams in the Big Ten, but this is a team that you kind of, maybe expect to be a dark horse contender in the Big Ten, but I don't know what the roster looks like for UCLA. I didn't really watch a lot of UCLA last season in, 2023, so maybe I watch for them in 2024. 2024. As of right now, though, UCLA here is at number 9. It's not really like I'm high on this team, but UCLA, based off of where they were last season, I have to put them here at number 9. Let's go on to number 8 now, and that's Maryland. Maryland here at number 8 for me. They were a very competitive team last year, but the offense wasn't really the best, to be honest. Maryland, going into the season last year, had a really good chance to be a really explosive offense. You had Talia Tagovailoa back at quarterback from last year as well. Now he is gone. He has entered the transfer portal, so that's definitely going to be a huge loss here for this Maryland team. We'll see what the future looks like at quarterback for this team. They're just like a pretty average team. I don't really expect them to be like a decent team or maybe like an average type team in 2024. But like I said, based off of where they were last year, I have to put them here at number 8. And again, this is based off of where the teams were from last year, of course, in the Big Ten, and some of the newcomers here in the Pac-12, of course. So Maryland here at number 8 for my way too early power rankings for the Big Ten. Moving on to number 7, Northwestern. Northwestern coming off a really big surprise season last season as well. You look at this Northwestern team, fired Pat Fitzgerald before the 2023 season even started, and now an interim head coach comes in, and he done a really nice job. I can't really remember his name, but Northwestern did a really nice job with him as the interim head coach for this team. It seems like Northwestern is back to where they need to be. This is a team that only won like one game in 2022. They come back the next year, of course, with a 7-5 regular season year. And this Northwestern team definitely proved me wrong. There's no question about it. They have a really good momentum going into 2024. I think this team does have like the roster to compete with some of the teams in the Big Ten. Not the top teams, though. I don't think Northwestern is a top 25 team. I have to see a little bit more from what they're going to do in 2024 in order to kind of, rank them as a top 25 team. But Northwestern here at number 7. Let's go to number 6 now, and that's Iowa. I know Iowa shouldn't be really high on this list. I didn't have Iowa in my early top 25 this past Monday just because based off of, what they did last year, the offense just was not really good. Now, they did have one of the top defenses, not in the top defenses in the Big Ten, but a top 5 defense at least. I think that's the only strength going into 2024 so far is definitely on the defensive side of the football. But they're going to have a new offensive coordinator, so we'll see if Iowa can get their offense turned around. It's been a really big struggle for them in the last 2 years on the offensive side of the football, and we'll see if they can get that thing turned around here going into 2024. But Iowa here, this is a team that went to the Big Ten championship, of course, last season. So Iowa here at number 6. Moving on to number 5, another newcomer, and that's Washington. Washington here at number 5. I don't think this is going to be a big step back year for them. I still see this team, like I said, winning like 8 or 9 games next season. I don't really see them winning possibly 10 games, but it's really definitely a possibility that they could probably win 10 games. But going into the Big Ten, obviously, is going to be a very tough one for Washington. They're going to lose Michael Penix at quarterback. That's definitely going to be a huge loss there for this Washington team. And then you also you lose some wide receivers as well. Washington going to be like a pretty young team next season, I believe. So that's kind of like the early news going into like 2024 for this Washington team. And like I said, I think this is still a top 25 team, but maybe this is kind of a bit of a step back for them in 2024 as of right now. So Washington here at number 5, again a newcomer here in the Big Ten this season, obviously. Then we go to number 4, and that's Penn State. Penn State will have Drew Aller back at quarterback. They'll also have their top 2 running backs coming back. Penn State is a top 10, top 15 type team, in my opinion, going into 2024. We saw last year, the 2 losses that they had were Ohio State and, of course, Michigan. They were very competitive in those games, but, Penn State just seems like they're not on the level of Ohio State and Michigan just yet. Now, I think the good news is that Penn State, like I said, you bring Drew Aller back at quarterback, and I also think you bring back your 2 top running backs. Penn State's top running backs could be like one of the top duos of all time in the history of the Big Ten, just like Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards out of Michigan and everything. So Penn State here at number 4, obviously you have to count them here as a top 5 team in these power rankings, just because based off of where they were from last season. And once again, they won 10 games last year, so that's the reason why they're a little bit high on this list. So Penn State here at number 4. Moving on to number 3, and that's Oregon, another newcomer here. This is the last newcomer, of course, in the Big Ten. One of these Pac-12 teams of course. There's 4 newcomers in the, newcomers, I should say, in the Big Ten this season. I think Oregon might be one of the best newcomers going into the new Big Ten this season. You look at the talent on this roster, like I said, they're going to lose some key pieces at the defensive side of the football. But they do got Dylan Gabriel coming over, the transfer from Oklahoma. He does have experience at the quarterback position. I think that's going to really help out for this Oregon team. I think this could be a very dangerous team next year. Dan Lanning has done a really nice job for this Oregon football program. And they really, brought some good pieces in the recruiting class as well. They have a really good recruiting class coming into 2024. I think this is a top 5 team as well, so watch out for the Oregon Ducks in their first year, of course, in the Big Ten next season. They're number 3 here in these power rankings. Then number 2 for me is Ohio State. Ohio State, of course, will lose Kyle McCord due to the transfer portal and everything, but Ohio State's still going to have a talented enough roster. You can't really count out the talent of this team. I know this season wasn't really good for them last season. I still think this is a top 5 team, top 10 type team as well, going into 2024. Based off of that, though, they're going to lose Marvin Harrison at wide receiver as well. That will definitely be a huge loss there at the receiver position, but they got Will Howard coming in, the transfer from Kansas State. We'll see how well he can develop on the Ryan Day offense and everything for Ohio State. I think Ohio State will be fine on the defensive side of the football. They were very talented on that side of the football last year, and they were pretty dominant as well. So Ohio State, can they get over the hump? Can they finally beat Michigan after a 3-year losing streak to Michigan and everything? Like I said, Ohio State's going to lose some talent on both sides of the football, but this team, regardless, is going to have talent anyway on both sides of the football. They're going to completely rebuild. And they also got, of course, a good recruiting class coming in, so Ohio State here at number 2. Then we move on to number 1, and that team is obviously going to be Michigan. Based off of where Michigan was, this is a team that, of course, won the national championship. You have to put them here at number 1 just based off of where they were and everything from last year, and of course winning the national championship. And again, no word if Jim Harbaugh is going to be leaving Michigan, and also no word if J.J. McCarthy and Donovan Edwards are going to be leaving. But this team is obviously going to be losing a lot of talent next season, and also you got Blake Corum going to be gone at the running back position, so they're going to have to replace him at running back. J.J. McCarthy and Donovan Edwards, if they return, I think Michigan could be a really good team, but if they don't return, Michigan might be in trouble next season. But based off of where they were last season, you have to put them here at number 1, of course, in these power rankings. And like I said, Michigan is losing a lot of talent next season, but I think this is still going to be a really good team in my opinion, even like they're young or something like that. So Michigan here at number 1 in my Big Ten football power rankings, and those are my 2024 way too early Big Ten football power rankings, as again we are looking way ahead to the 2024 college football season. Let me guys know what you think about these Big Ten football power rankings, my way too early Big Ten football power rankings for 2024. Let me guys know what you think down in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree? And also give me your Big Ten football power rankings down in the comments below as well. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.